Well, hello there, sunshine. Good to see your smiling face this morning. It's Thursday morning, Friday Eve is what we're affectionately calling today. Chief Meteorologist Tim Miller. Let's talk about the thing that I know everybody's like rolling their eyes. Again, we're going to talk about the heat. It's summertime, yes, but this is really a strong ridge of high pressure that we don't really get that often. Or if we do, it's very short lived. This thing is going to stick around at least through the early part of next week here, giving us these incredibly high temperatures. In fact, you ready for this? The hottest temperatures in the nation will be from Wilmington down to Hilton Head today. That's right. Forget Arizona. Forget all that. I mean, when you're actually talking and you throw in the humidity, the factor, it will just be oppressive. And for us, that's dangerous, if not even deadly heat. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. So we'll start from north to south. We're going to go into the upstate here, and I'm going to put my glasses on. And you know where Newland, Newland? How would you say Newland, North Carolina? Anyway, their high today is 79. It must be a teeny tiny. I know where Boone is, and all of that. Been up there. But 79. Then you just go down a country mile or two, and you travel. Well, these are the temperatures. Go down to Greenville, Spartanburg, mid 90s. It'll feel like low 100s today in Greenville, Spartanburg, up towards Lancaster and Rock Hill. Feel like 104. Good night. And then you get into even Charlotte itself, 104. It'll feel like that in the city. But generally speaking, you go up to these mountains, man, and I'll tell you what, you cool off real quickly. Of course, you're talking 4,000 feet and higher in some places in some of those mountainous areas. And it's just, it feels so good. Plus the fact they're going to get some showers and storms here in the northern parts of western North Carolina. So do expect that. But nonetheless, for the upstate today, just another hot, humid day with that heat index pushing the low 100s. So be prepared for that. Try to limit your time outdoors for sure. So let's go to our next slide here, and I will show you what we're looking at. This will be for the Midlands. Major heat risk incoming. That is for sure. And this is a heat advisory in effect. Basically for the entire, really much of the state here today, but for the Midlands, this would be from about noon to 8 o'clock. What does this mean? This means the level of heat affects anyone without effective cooling or adequate hydration. Consider canceling outdoor activities, staying inside during the heat of the day, and of course, stay hydrated. Even don't forget, when you're suddenly feeling thirsty, it's too late. You're already dehydrated. So that's the body's real alarm going off. So this is a major situation here. We're past little or none, past minor, past moderate. We're into major, close to extreme. And you'll see extreme conditions, especially from Charleston to Hilton Head. But again, this is major heat with a heat advisory for the Midlands from about noon to 8 o'clock. This means that a heat index today could be 110 to 112 degrees. Is what it'll feel like. I do think we'll have some thunderstorms around this afternoon. I'll talk more about that in just a moment, but whether they're isolated or widely scattered will depend upon how long we keep this heat in. If they're isolated, chances are that heat will continue all the way through 8 o'clock. If we get some, really scattered development of these storms, we'll get rid of the heat index fairly quickly. I would surmise that'll also be issued for tomorrow as well. So let's just go ahead and assume that'll be the case for tomorrow with this major heat. All right, let's go to the next one. We'll go down to Charleston, and I got to tell you, this is very dangerous heat. I know it's probably hard to see here, but this is the heat index for various cities all across the low country. We'll start here in Charleston, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Charleston feeling like 111 today. 114 it'll feel like on Friday, and by Saturday it'll feel like 116 degrees outside. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there's a 120 somewhere. Look at Walterboro, probably hard for you to see, 115 on Saturday. That's just incredible heat. Hampton at 111, Beaufort at 116 and 115 Monday, Tuesday. You can't deal with that. I don't care how say, well, I'm used to the heat. No, you're not. I promise you, you're not used to that. Nobody's used to that. That's how dangerous this heat is. And heat-related illness could happen with just minor things doing outdoors activities. So drink plenty of water, wear light shaded clothing, wear a hat, no matter how goofy it looks. Don't wear a baseball hat, cap. You want to wear one with a brim. You don't want to. You don't have to wear a cowboy hat, but just a hat. Who used to? Was it was it Ernest Hemingway that always wore a hat down in Key West? Right. So wear an Ernest Hemingway hat. Or whatever case may be. And of course, the classic, always look before you lock. If you have kids, it's hot outside, your mind's going elsewhere, and just look in the back and make sure, the kiddos are out, and in the pets too. Don't leave there's not, crack window open won't help at all. I mean, you get in your car, and how many times when it's so hot outside, you get in your car, you touch the steering wheel, you go, ouch, or the belt buckle that's, you go reach for it and it's metal and it's been in the car all day and you get third-degree burns just from that. Imagine being a pet. Just be extra caution with that. But these heat indexes are just absurd over the next couple of days. So we've not seen this in quite a long time. So our friends down in Charleston, we will be thinking of you big time. So here's the situation. We have a extreme heat advisory from basically Moncks Corner's under a heat advisory, but basically Charleston all the way down to Hilton Head, Savannah, and then further towards the south. What does that mean? That means high temperatures, the actual temperature itself, mid to upper 90s, but we're talking about that heat index between 112 and 117 degrees. Wouldn't surprise me if there's a 120 somewhere. When you're talking 117, 120, we're splitting hairs here. It doesn't really matter. And this will go into the nighttime hours. So, any relief at night will pretty much be non-existent. The temperature will go down, but with the humidity up there, it'll be just really oppressive. I was looking at some model runs earlier this morning with the dew point temperature. So whenever we talk about how great it feels in the fall, right, we have dew points in the 30s and 40s. That's dry air, feels great. Once we get low 70s, that's when it becomes uncomfortable. The dew point from Charleston to Hilton Head today, even in the middle of the afternoon, will be 80 to 82 degrees. Let me tell you, that's the type of dew point and moisture in the atmosphere that you have in the Amazon. So that's why nobody lives in the Amazon, and this is going to feel like it, right? So it's just going to be very dangerous. Promise me that if you're down in the low country watching today, that you're extra cautious. Be careful. By the way, this is for today. This will be also issued for tomorrow as well, and maybe even Saturday. The saving grace would be to get some showers and storms. We're going to get the sea breeze, but I'm not really seeing a lot of that activity come on in. So we will by the weekend. We'll change it by the weekend, but until then, we're just going to have to deal with this heat here as we move on in. So let's talk about what we need to really focus on here. What does heat actually do and impact? Well, I mean, obviously, of those that are expecting, extreme heat events have been associated with adverse birth outcomes, such as low birth weight. I didn't know that. Preterm birth, infant mortality, and just a number of other issues. For newborns are extra sensitive to heat because their ability to regulate body temperature is limited. This is a tiny little thing, so they can't do the things that obviously those that are older. For children, young children, infants in particular, vulnerable to the heat as their bodies are less able to adapt to heat than adults. Those under 4 are especially vulnerable, so this is why you have to watch the kids outside. Going outside, we want kids. There's this push to get kids to go outside and play. That's true, but not in this heat. Let's keep everybody indoors. And of course, our seasoned citizens, if you will, older adults, especially those who have pre-existing diseases, take certain medications as well, live alone, or have limited mobility are at higher risk for heat illness or heat situations. So yeah, check on our seasoned citizens for sure. And those, of course, that are not feeling well, maybe have a chronic illness. People with chronic medication, or rather medical conditions, are more likely to have serious health problems during a heat wave. So there you go. Pregnant, newborns, children, elderly, and those that have some minor to major health issues need to pay extra caution when it comes to this heat. And we'll post all this up on our website as well, so we'll tell you the latest. All right, let's get to a couple things here. We'll start off by talking about the tropics. Cristobal is going to be basically no more. It's basically post-tropical. I'm sure there'll be no more updates on this. This is what we call a fish storm. A couple things to talk about here. We have two areas that we're going to watch, one in red and one in orange. This area in red here, let's see if I can get that. There we go. Keep wants to jump to the, all right, so let's not move that. All right, so this is disturbance 1, has an 80% chance of developing. According to the Hurricane Center, these showers and storms are showing signs of organization associated with this tropical wave located about 1,000 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. Chance of forming in the next 48 hours is about 80%. In the next 7 days, also 80%. So before we get too bent out of shape about that, wouldn't worry about that one. This is headed in this direction, and there's a tremendous amount of wind shear here. Wind shear is wind in the upper atmosphere that will prevent this thing from growing. So I think this, although sounds like it may be our next tropical depression, tropical storm, which would be named Dolly, by the way. How can anything named Dolly be? You think of Dolly Parton. I mean, come on. I mean, Dolly's sweet. Nonetheless, I'm not worried about that at all. I think it's going to hit wind shear, and that'll be the end of that storm, regardless of how red it is, and it may look on the satellite view. Don't worry about that. This one is another story. This is our next tropical wave. It is an environment where, generally speaking, it has favorable development because this is a little further towards the north. Our wind shear is more towards the south. The Hurricane Center is giving this thing about a 50% chance of development over the next 7 days. So if it does, where would it go? At this point, my thinking is this travels here, can clearly develop, I think, into the next, has the potential after, if this one becomes Dolly, which looks like it will, the next named storm after Dolly. Oh, everybody always asks me what the name storms, as if I remember all these names. I can barely remember Tim Miller. How can I remember all these storms? My feeling is, though, this storm will continue to track towards the west-northwest. And as of now, as of us getting together here on this Thursday morning, my thinking is it does one of these. All indications are, as of now, that would happen. What's the key word am I saying? As of now, right? This has the potential to change. I think, if anything, of all of these three areas, this one is the one we've got to keep a close eye on, right? Because once it gets, it can reach a point of no return based on how far south this thing travels. My thinking is this thing does take this turn and will have zero effect on us as of now. We'll have to watch this, right? But I'm not a bit concerned about that, not at all. But this one, I'm not, I wouldn't say concerned, but I'm watching you. I got my eye on you, orange blob. So no need to worry about that. All right, so finally, let's look at this. This is a current view of satellite. And I don't know if you can see this. Hard to see this at this point. This is a lot of cirrus clouds, these high wispy clouds in the air. But you'll notice the movement of these clouds coming in from the northwest, right? To me, that indicates we're going to get one of these systems that we've had over the last few days. And I talked about this yesterday, these MCSs, we call them in meteorology, these mesoscale convective systems, which is a big fancy word because we love to put fancy words and everything in meteorology for a cluster of thunderstorms. But these cluster of thunderstorms isn't just your usual routine thunderstorms. They sort of like they form a group and they band together and then they travel, right, as a group. I say that to say is because we have high pressure off towards our west. Everything's going up and over high pressure. So you'll notice that we have these clouds coming in from the northwest. The next uh, cluster of thunderstorms is well to our north. That will travel northwest to southeast. So as these clouds are showing you, that's exactly the way that cluster of thunderstorms will move. As it does so, it'll enter this juicy air, hot, humid air that we're dealing with. And these outflow boundaries have the potential of producing more thunderstorms today. Here's the fly in the ointment. Will this have enough juice to cross the mountains and stay intact for it to reach us from Greenville all the way down to the coast to produce these thunderstorms? Nobody, I don't have the answer to that. Nobody will have the answer to that. The chances are that I think they'll get up and over the mountains, but will they have enough juice to fire off showers and storms to help at least cool us off a little bit? That's the part I'm not 100% certain yet. All right. When will I know that? Later on this afternoon. So once we do our 3 o'clock update, should have a better idea where that cluster of storms located, and if they're still talking and conversing as a group and get over the mountains. Let's find out how much that'll influence our weather as we get into tonight. If they do hold together, the chances of us having some strong storms with gusty winds, very quick, heavy downpours, and frequent lightning certainly is possible. Last night, because, I wonder why I can't sleep, right? Because I'm out there in all hours of night looking at lightning as if I've never seen it before. So I'm out there watching the storm, right? And I can see in the distance, I have this perfect view as you look up towards the north and northwest from my house, and the lightning is going crazy. So the lightning that I'm seeing from my house was a storm that was in Lawrence County. All right. So, I mean, from where I'm at, 40, 50 miles away, maybe, and you're seeing that lightning. Maybe it may have been in Union County. It may have been even further than that. So you can see that lightning at night, and I knew that it wasn't going to head my way because the storm was dying out. But you'll see a lot of this lightning at night, and that's not heat lightning. Remember, there's no such thing as heat lightning. What you're seeing is a distant thunderstorm, and it's so far away that you just can't hear the thunder. All right, so the old wives' tale of, well, it's summertime, the heat is causing the lightning. No, it's not. It's just a distant thunderstorm. You can take that to the bank. If anybody argues with you, you have them message me here. So the takeaway, really, I'm not concerned about the storms as I am the heat. So please be careful wherever you are, from all across the state watching, from the upstate to the Piedmont, to the Midlands, to the PD, to the Grand Strand, to the Low Country. It's just going to be a hot, heat advisories and extreme heat warnings all over the place. That heat advisory, or rather the heat index, 100 degrees plus throughout the day today. We'll keep you posted. Be sure to share this with family and friends, especially that information about safety, heat safety that we shared this morning, all right? And I will see you this afternoon at 3.